I believe that every single square foot in Dubai is built to be either sold or rented.
From selling Armani jeans in a mall to running one of Dubai's biggest real estate powerhouses.
I didn't just start a company in the peak of the global financial crisis, but the peak of the global real estate crisis.
Firas Al Msaddi left Syria at 21, bought a bankrupt company at 25, and against all odds, turned it into fam properties with a track record of managing $4 billion in developments.
The opportunity to make money in real estate is always there, whether the market's up or the market's down.
Entrepreneur, investor, author, Firas turned risk and struggle into one of Dubai's biggest real estate success stories.
I don't think it's going to burst at all. It has proven its long-term ability to overcome not just challenges, actually creating massive opportunities out of challenges.
Let's get into it. Firas, you left Syria at 21 and worked everything from mall security to selling Armani jeans before getting to real estate. What pulled you into that world?
Well, the minute I landed in Dubai, I saw all the skyscrapers. So that was more than enough inspirations for me to look at real estate. And also when I worked at Armani, most of the clients who would come and spend a lot made me, think, okay, what do you guys do? And many of my clients were into the real estate. And then I started learning a bit more about it. And, it was the industry that I'm looking for because I wanted to be in a place where the more you do, the more you get. And there's no ceiling to your growth. And I wanted to be a bit away also from like the bureaucracies of, just a straightforward employment.
But you've taken some very bold decisions in your career. I mean, at 25, you bought a bankrupt company in the middle of a financial crisis. What was going through your head? Can you take me through the journey?
Honestly, what appears to many people as a risky move, for me, it was a very objective move. I'm actually very risk averse. Maybe on the outside, people think that I'm a risk taker. I'm a very risk averse. But it was very objective. But I think I just didn't get carried away with the hype. I didn't get carried away with the, negative sentiment that was all over the place. If anyone went through the same thought process I went through back then in 2009, I think everyone would have started a real estate company.
Take me through that thought process.
Well, I just looked at all the skyscrapers in Dubai and I was like, even if my job was to help everyone exit and sell what they have there, whether for $1 or $100, I'm still gonna, create wealth in the process. And I also looked at the infrastructure of Dubai and what Dubai has done. And I had this unwavering belief that whatever got Dubai to that point will be able to actually to overcome these challenges and take it to the next point. And in the process, I thought the opportunity is insane, especially the fact that most people completely, dropped the ball and thought that it's the end.
But I think since then, you've come a long way. Now you guys have managed more than $4 billion in developments. How do you pick the right development to bet on?
The North Star is always clients' experience. It's what provides the most value to clients. We worked on developments that offer much lesser commission because I knew that whoever buys here, the likelihood of them making money versus losing money or not even making money is much, much higher. And that's where I would put my own money. So I didn't look at how much commission it pays. I looked at how much money it can make my investors. And when you do this, you operate in the business. You can choose two models. You're either in the model of, I always need a new client because whoever deals with me will never want to deal with me again. Or you're in the business model of, I serve my clients very well and they'll come back to me. And that was the North Star when it comes to choosing developments or even starting other companies. So every single company we started alongside Fam Properties, we started to create more value to our clients. We have the first client is the buyer or the seller or the tenant. The second client is the broker. So every other company we've built to create more value to both clients. So today, for example, we have Fam Properties, which is the real sales engine. It's the largest real estate company, I would say, ever built in Dubai. We have over 900 brokers today, 25 offices. So we're also the most geographically spread real estate brokerage business in Dubai.
But wait a second, did you say 900 brokers?
Yeah.
Oh, that's insane. How do you control, they're all representing the firm in a way, right? So how do you control how they represent the firm, especially that brokers in Dubai do have a bad rep, right? So how do you counter that narrative?
I mean, I remember the first CEO message I wrote back in 2013. I said, real estate brokers are the prize everyone loves to hate. And the reputation is well deserved. I think it's a worldwide thing, not only in Dubai. If anything, in Dubai, I think the market has matured a lot in terms of regulations, which mitigated many wrong practices by many brokers. But we've really redefined the game in the market. First, I saw an opportunity in being genuine. I think the greatest salespeople on earth who have long-lasting success are those who know how to sell the truth. And it's became more of a philosophy in the company that, I've trained hundreds of agents in the company on the importance of this and linking, because when you talk to a broker and you start talking about honesty and values, you probably lose half of them. But when you link that to how they can actually, why this is important for them to succeed and for their own success. And when you succeed in real estate, you don't make small money, you make a lot of money. It resonates a lot more, with them. That's why I said, I felt that there's a massive opportunity in Dubai in just being genuine, honest, and transparent, and look for the long term with clients. And at the end of the day, any internal process we want to introduce or policy, if it does not create more value to clients, one, and if it does not align with our values as a company, two, we simply don't do it. So our values is what drives our behavior internally and externally. That's how we've built the system in a way that brokers will naturally evolve more and find it easier actually being transparent with clients. For example, we created a company called DXP Interact. My brother is the founder and the chief tech officer. I'm the CEO of the company and the co-founder. And this company has really redefined the game for real estate brokers in all of Dubai, not only in fan properties, because we've collaborated with Dubai Land Department and we brought transparency to transactions in Dubai when it comes to sales and leasing. So if you want to find out how much any property was rented or sold for in Dubai, you go to this website and you will know it. When we introduced this first, brokers were very, they did not feel comfortable. They said, okay, how can I sell something if the client knows the truth? How can I tell the client buy at 2 million? What if there was a transaction at 1.8? Why would he buy for me at 2 million? We've actually explained to brokers the process. We've explained to brokers that, the stock market is very transparent. Still people buy when it's up and down. And their role is actually interpreting this data. It took us maybe 5 years to do it. It's not easy. And I think one of the most challenging aspects of scaling a business is keeping the quality and the standards and making sure that it doesn't get diluted as you scale. And the key to do that is the system. So we've built a self-policed ecosystem within the company where even the clients, the company, and the broker kind of police each other.
And you talked about training as well, right? Training those brokers. Obviously, being honest is a big part of that. But what are the other things or other advices that you have for them, whether for their job or something about the market?
Knowledge, especially now, even with AI, is even much more than before. Knowledge is available. And if someone wants to, when there's a will, there's a way, right? But if I tell you that I do 1,000 push-ups a day, I know not everyone will do 1,000 push-ups a day. So it's more of on executing, not just on providing information. So with our brokers, for example, we make sure that from the minute they step into the company onwards, and it's an ongoing process, we keep giving them trainings, we keep giving them tactical and strategic trainings, so they know how to operate in the market. But there's understanding who they compete with and how to compete in the marketplace is the key, and what they're competing towards. So when you tell the broker, you're actually competing towards client experience. And when you tell the broker, now when the client wants to deal with any of FAM brokers, when they look up FAM, they see that we're the highest reviewed company in Dubai. We have, I think, 14,000 Google reviews, 4.9 out of 5. Then the client will want to deal with you as a broker. So really it's breaking it down always to what's in it for them. What's in it for them to do 1, 2, 3.
Firas, I think it's clear you're a great team leader, entrepreneur, you've built a successful company, but you've also said that not everyone is cut out to be an entrepreneur. So tell me more about that. What is the trait that, sets those that succeed and those that are just not cut out for it?
I think there's no wrong and right, when it comes to how big your goals are in life. I think for me, success is more of you living happy. That's it. So if someone is happier doing 8 hours a day and making X amount of money and spending more time with their friends or family or whoever, then they're successful. Then the other side is not meant for them. But I think where most people go wrong is that they aim for the stars and they still want to do what an average person is doing. So what differentiates an entrepreneur from not is, number one, is the ambitions, and they need to have the ambition and they need to be ready to execute. So you set a goal, you understand what resources you need to get there, you set a plan, and then you execute and you sign a contract with yourself that no matter how much you plan, you're gonna come across challenges and obstacles where every cell of your body tells you to drop it. And you just need to sign a contract with yourself and say, whatever happens, I'm not going to let go. I'm not gonna drop it.
No, absolutely. But for anyone who's listening in and is like, I want to start, but I don't know what I want to achieve. I don't know what my ambition is. What would you say to someone like that?
Everyone should have a goal. And when you don't have a goal, it's completely fine. Your goal is to find your goal. Your full-time job is to try and figure out what you want to achieve. When you are intentional about this, you will figure it out.
Absolutely. And you evolve as a person. Your goals change as well with time. Your idea of success changes as well with time. And that's absolutely normal
100%, yeah.
As well. I think if you look back at your journey, starting from nothing in Dubai to mashallah now, running such a successful company, how has your relationship with money changed over time?
Obviously, at the start, I would think about money more than now to a certain extent, but my daily focus, at a minute and a second level every day was to actually do the things right and do the things to the best extent of my ability. It was never ever money. Because when it's money, it confuses people. It makes people make the wrong take the wrong choices. When it's actually creating value, you know that one of the must happen results, money will follow. There's no way for you to create a business that is so successful to provide the best service, and as a result of that, to get clients loyal to you and clients referring more clients to you, and not to make money.
But what is your relationship with money? Are you a spender? Are you a saver? Are you anxious about money?
I've never. That's why I said I'm not. I'm risk averse to a certain degree. I've never ever taken a loan in my life. So all my life, if I have money, I spend, and if I don't have money, I just don't. If I have money, I invest. I never want to take high exposure, and I always think of risk before thinking of opportunity. I need to tick that risk box, and I think as you have more money, that risk box gets more, you will start having more, like a higher level of tolerance of, taking a bit more risk with money. I consider myself a spender. I always, pray to God that, give me more and enable me to spend it in the right way only. I'm not going to live 2 lives. I work extremely hard. I think anything I've ever wished for or really wished to buy or to have, I probably already have.
For us, I think it's really interesting that you said that you don't take out any loans, but what do you say to your clients that are taking out loans to buy these properties?
I think do it in a very well-informed way. I don't tell people don't take loans, but I do tell people that myself, I don't take loans. I don't want to have any high exposure in my life. I can't sleep if I have to pay the bank back. But those who are taking loans, I always tell them take very well calculated decision. Make sure you don't overexpose yourself. Many times I could have got my clients to actually take higher exposure with much higher risk. But I always choose to tell them that no, because we invest to prosper and to be happier. That's the aim. So taking higher exposure can turn into a complete nightmare. So that's why I would say take a loan and take exposure from banks that you can really afford.
You know, it's actually quite refreshing that you say you're risk averse, because a lot of different entrepreneurs say, I'm so risky, I can bet everything on the line, but people have real responsibilities, right? Which can make them risk averse. So I actually find it quite refreshing that you say that you're risk averse. It's good to hear someone in your position say that.
I think also risk is perceptional. Like what could be risky for you or seen as risky for you might not be deemed as risky for me. Like I said, many people think that my start when I starting a real estate brokerage company in 2009 was very risky. For me, really, it wasn't risky. Even at the time I started it, I didn't feel it was risky because I knew that no matter what happens, all these skyscrapers won't just disappear. Okay, there's a recession that will not, last forever. And even if it did last forever, still someone has to help people moving in, moving out, selling or buying real estate.
No, absolutely. And if you look at your own entrepreneurship journey as well, what is probably a personal weakness that you had to build on throughout the years?
When you make more money, you might with time become less careful with certain things. You start tolerating things that you were never in a position to tolerate before. And that's one big lesson that I learned, and I learned the hard way. For example, when you become friends with people within the company, that friendship should never get to the point where you cannot talk business to them. You cannot have them in a business meeting and say, you need to do 1, 2, 3. Here are your KPIs and OKRs, and you got to deliver on this. So I would say that was one of the mistakes I've done, and one of the lessons that I learned. And you always have to own your outcome. Twice, almost the company, I was going to lose the company twice. And it wasn't because I was losing money. It was never because I was losing money. It was certain challenges, in the marketplace.
Talk to us about those challenges.
In brief, I went into a legal conflict with one of the clients that I had, basically. But it wasn't with the client. It was with the client's management. And it took probably 2 years to resolve. And the client was not just a VIP, it's like 10x VIP. But thankfully, I'm in a market and in a city like Dubai, where despite who you are, there is right and there is wrong. Things can take a bit longer to crystallize and to come to the surface, but there is right and wrong. And then in 2 years' time, I was completely clear from that situation. And to date, the client is one of my best clients. But at that point, there were so many, possibilities, because you're not dealing with normal average, investors or clients. So that was a very, very tough one. And the second one, one of my team members had a fallout. I had nothing to do with it myself. The company had nothing to do with it. But somehow at their personal capacity, they had a massive fallout with one of the biggest players in Dubai real estate market. And that's it. They literally wanted us to let him go immediately. And I said no, because he didn't do anything wrong to me. And then it escalated, and they literally wanted to shut us down. They actually tried to shut us down. But again, thanks God, we're in a city like Dubai where you can't do these things. There's not much bullying as compared to other places or markets when it comes to a big player versus a smaller player.
But I love that you stood up for your own team, which I'm sure had a great positive sentiment internally as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're still around, and that same exact person actually became a very close friend after that.
Nice. And I think something that you brought up is how the city is run. I think this is what allowed the city to grow so much. The city has grown so much, but there's still a lot more growth that we're expected to see. What can we expect in the next 5 to 10 years? We hear a lot that Dubai is a hot market, but it is going to burst soon. Is that true? Are we in a bubble?
I don't think it's going to burst at all. I think if anything, it has proven its long-term ability to overcome, not just overcome challenges, actually creating massive opportunities out of challenges. COVID is the most recent one. But like any market, you're subject to market cycles. That's very normal. However, the opportunity to make money in real estate is always there, whether the market's up or the market's down. I mean, I didn't just start the company in the peak of the global financial crisis, but the peak of the global real estate crisis, and still managed to make money in my early days in the company. But I think that the market is maturing. I think regulations are also maturing. Dubai is an early adopter of AI as well. I think that will have also an impact, and if anything, speeding things even more. I think the luxury segment would be very interesting in Dubai, because before COVID we've probably had 10 branded residences in Dubai. 3 years from now, probably we'll have more than 100. So let alone the villas that are priced 50 to 300, 400 million dirhams. Many of these villas are being sold in Dubai. So billionaires who bought these villas and millionaires who bought these villas and assets, even if they want to exit, they have to sell to like-minded people or to similar level people. So I think that luxury segment we didn't have in Dubai pre-COVID, or we didn't have at scale pre-COVID. I think now we have it at scale. The number of properties that that are above $10 million in Dubai, I don't know, I can't put a number to it, is probably 100x when compared to prior to COVID. So I think that's one thing to watch out for over the coming 3 years.
And why do you think there's so much demand for those branded properties?
It's one of the lessons I learned from Dubai, not just from these big successful businesses. Dubai has literally branded respect, and the world has bought it. You feel the respect the minute you land in the airport. In fact, if I'm traveling, the minute I step into Emirates Airlines and I hear the beat of Emirates, I literally feel safe. I feel better. I feel I'm already in Dubai. The level of services you get in Dubai and the client experience, and here the client is the tourist, is the residents, is even those who are passing by or coming for business, is extremely attractive. It's like a magnet. It's like someone coming and getting a taste of what Dubai feels like will always come back to Dubai. And that's what every real estate developer is selling. The infrastructure, hard and soft, the services you get in Dubai is just unbeatable.
But do you think Dubai will always be number one? Or will there be other hubs that are coming up?
I mean, I don't have a crystal ball to tell you, but I think Dubai never stopped. They've been number one since a very long time, not only now, and they've never stopped. They've never taken it for granted. They keep pushing the bar higher and higher. Like, I talk to brokers, I say, literally, you're in a city that does not sleep. You need to understand, when a city doesn't sleep, it means people who are building the city and taking part in building the city, they're also not sleeping. You got to understand who you're competing with. It's very, very fast paced. I feel like Dubai is one of the probably it's the most overworked place on planet Earth. I feel like I'm living on a treadmill. Even sleeping in a treadmill is like sprinting in a marathon.
It really does feel like that sometimes. But listen, help a friend out. If someone wants to invest in an area in Dubai, what areas should I be looking for?
This is a very broad question. I give you a process rather than naming a project. You just need to define what a market price is for any property, which is very simple today. You can go to the XP Interact and find out how much any project or any property was actually transacted for get advertised for. Once you define the market price, then you would know what's a good deal from an overpriced deal. right? So if you want to buy in this particular tower and you looked at an apartment that's overlooking Burj Khalifa and the fountains, is 2,000 square feet, asking price is 3 million dirhams, then you would have to go and find out really how many are on market, what is the real market value for this. And then, if you got it for 2.8 is a good deal, it's 10 or 8% less. If you're paying a bit higher, it means you're paying a bit higher. But it's difficult to just give you a blanket advice and say, okay, go and invest in this project. In general, you have the off-plan and you have the resale market. So dependent on what you want to achieve. Off-plan has the opportunity in paying over time, of course, but also has the risk of, what kind of project is going to be delivered when it's ready, when it's going to be delivered. On the resale or the ready market is, seeing is believing. So you see what you're actually buying and getting into.
Absolutely. And you said all the information is out there for anyone that wants to invest to see what were the transactions in those areas or those towers. Whatever
your opinion is, whatever you believe in, whatever opportunity you identify, it has to be backed by data. If it's validated by data, it means like I've never ever gone wrong when I validated any investment decision with data.
Which brings me to my next question. You talked about how you guys are super tech first. You truly believe in AI. How is AI actually going to change the sector? Or is it already changing it?
I think for sure it's already changing it. It's moving even, faster than before. Obviously with AI, whatever you can get done in an hour, it probably used to take you 10 hours to do before. But I think it will, as we speak today, it's more on the client experience side, is more on the lead gen, for example. Qualifying clients is more on segmenting data, targeting. So it's more on the advertising side as of now, because I think the industry is still very much human relevant. So you still, when you want to buy a house for 2 million dirhams, you still want to talk to a human, to a person.
When you're spending all that money, you want to talk to a human,
And trust remains as a very big currency. But I think with AI, the brand would matter a lot more than before, whether we're talking about the personal brand or the company brand, the corporate brand, because it's not going to be so much on what is being said, but more of who said it. So even today, for example, if you have a new player just popped out and said, okay, we have this prop tech company, and we're gonna provide this, we're gonna change the world, versus, for example, Fan Properties coming and saying we're using AI to do 1, 2, 3. The credibility of the brand has a lot of weight in how the market perceive your new initiative. So I think branding is gonna become branding, and market positioning is my obsession today.
And I think that's so true in terms of what you said. It's also what customers want, right? People buying want to see actual concrete data rather than just someone selling a story that's based on nothing as well.
Yeah, correct. And that's how the agents behave. Honestly, we've really redefined how brokers operate in the market, because today with the XP Interact being free and public to everyone, today when buyers and sellers come and deal with brokers, they expect the broker to support their whatever case they have with data. They ask the broker, okay, what was the last transaction? How much this was sold for before? How did the price trend over the last 3 years? Am I buying in the peak or mid, or where are we in the cycle? And now everything can be validated and supported by data.
Do you think the customer now is more informed than before?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I think as AI, comes in more, I think today customers will have the tendency to use AI to validate what brokers tell them as well, to identify the right broker, to find the right broker, to find the right company, to understand how this company, what level of client experience this company provides. Today you can go to ChatGPT and say, okay, I want to buy something in downtown, and this broker gave me this in this project for this price. What do you think? Is it overpriced? Is it underpriced? Of course, we're still not at the point where you get 100% accurate data, but it raises the right questions for sure, and it really helps you validating what any broker is offering you.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It helps you a lot with decision making. So if we were to look to the future, one thing you're super excited for the next 10 years.
Wow, 10 years. I think I'm excited to see how AI is gonna hijack our industry, because today it's still human relevant. But I think something will happen overnight that will really overtake this and play a much bigger role than what it's playing today. So, and I want to always make sure that we are extremely well positioned to seize this opportunity as a company.
I'm interested to see what's going to come up as well. But we have to wrap this up at some point. I mean, I can go on and on, but I like to wrap it up with my favorite question. If you were 21 today, what advice would you give yourself?
I would just say, dream big and understand what it takes to achieve those dream or goals, and sign a contract with yourself that whatever happens, you're gonna... Honestly, I don't regret anything in the last 18, 20 years. If I go back, I really wouldn't change anything that I did, because every mistake I made was a massive learning curve for me. And maybe without those mistakes, I would not be where I am today. So it's very, very important, as cliche, as cheesy as it sounds, you need to have a goal and need to have a very clear goal. And if you don't have a goal, make sure that your full-time job and your current goal is to identify what you want to achieve.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah.
What an end. Thank you so much,
you.
Firas.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.